BTA. That is exactly what happened when the Kansas City Chiefs met the Philadelphia Eagles. It was BTA. It was over with. They got smoked. They got rolled up with like a joint and got smoked. They got rolled up like a Cuban cigar and got smoked. The Kansas City Chiefs, their offensive line is horrible. But if you didn't know that all year, I could tell you that you didn't watch the Chiefs. Because me watching the Chiefs all year long, knowing that their offensive line, they big ass couldn't block the sun out their eyes, knowing that their offensive line look like a big ass bunch of equipment managers out there on the field. Every time you look up, every time Patrick Mahomes drop back, you had literally a defensive lineman already getting in the backfield within the first 3 seconds. And this is from what I know as far as pass rushers. The Eagles didn't blitz not one time that whole game. Not one game. If you have 4 pass rushers that can go get to your quarterback and you don't have to sacrifice nobody on the back end and your linebackers and literally everybody can go drop back in the coverage, you're going to lose that game. Because at some point you do have to blitz. And the number one way to disrupt any quarterback, I don't care what quarterback it is, hey Manning, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, it don't matter. If you can get pressure on him and get to the quarterback and not have to blitz, I promise you, that opposing defense is winning that game. Defense wins championships, offense wins you games. That's exactly how the Eagles got to this point. That's how the Eagles got to the Super Bowl. Offense won them these games. Saquon Barkley running them to the Super Bowl like he did in the regular season and also in this postseason. Then he got shut down versus the Kansas City Chiefs. He did. He had less than 100 yards. But that Eagles defense showed up and showed out. The secondary did. The defensive line did. Hell, the linebackers did. Everybody on that defense showed out. Josh Sweat to Jalen Carter to Jeremy Davis. I mean, you look up. Everybody showed up with the Philadelphia Eagles. And you got to give credit. Give credit where credit is due. Howie Roseman, I think he's solidified he's the best GM in all of football. Since for him to build this team, re-sign their core guys like Jalen Hurts, like Devontae Smith, like A.J. Brown, and then still add pieces on defense and also draft well as well. Because one of the rookies that they drafted got a pick and took it all the way to the house. And the guy who was benched by the New Orleans Saints, you sign him, add him to your team, and he ends up getting a crucial interception in this game. But the biggest domino signing was Saquon Barkley, and they still have cap space left. This game was embarrassing. This game was dominating. This game was over with by halftime. If you just look at the box score and you see Pat Mahomes threw for over 20 yards and a couple touchdowns and all that, you look at the interceptions, this game was a 40-6 at one point. If you didn't watch the game after the halftime show, you would have thought that, okay, you know what? They put up a fight. No, they didn't. This game was 40-6 at one point. It was 24-0 at halftime, and at one point it was 40-6. The Eagles dominated the Chiefs, and it wasn't even close. If you would have told me that the Philadelphia Eagles would be a 24-0 at halftime on the Kansas City Chiefs, I said you was lying, because I thought this was going to be a one-score game. I thought the Eagles were going to pull this out and at least win by a field goal, maybe 6 points, maybe a touchdown. No. They said we got revenge on our minds. We finna come in with a totally different mindset, and them Chiefs want a 3-peat. Nah, not today. Nah, watch. We ready for smoke, and we finna get revenge and get back from the first Super Bowl we should have won a few years ago. But the Kansas City Chiefs got exposed. When you really look at it, they couldn't run the football like they really couldn't all year. They had good moments, but they couldn't really run the football. The offensive line was pathetic all year long. Nobody just talked about it because they was winning games and getting helped by winning games from the refs. But if you really go back and look at all the Kansas City Chiefs games, their offensive line was sometimes awful. Their offensive lines was sometimes a pain in the ass. It was pathetic to watch. Sometimes the offensive line had decent moments, but for the most part, they was pretty bad, and they got exposed. Then when you look at the receiving core, I mean, you can kind of say something about the receiving core, but if Mahomes doesn't have time to throw the ball, and he's running around for his life, and he's trying to run for yards instead, he can't throw the ball downfield. What do you expect? You also got a DeAndre Hopkins that's past his prime. You got a Travis Kelce that's past his prime. You got a Hollywood Brown who's not a number one wide receiver. He's really just a speed guy. You got Xavier Worthy who's really just a speed guy. You got Juju Smith-Schuster who's really just a guy at this point. He's not. I don't even want to call him a number 2. He's really just a guy at this point. So when you really look at the Chiefs receiving core, they just putting pits and patches trying to replace things because they really still miss Tyreek Hill. It's just Pat Mahomes' greatness has helped them get to back-to-back Super Bowls, and with a little bit of help of the rest from last year. But for the most part, they was able to cover up the big playability of a Tyreek Hill. So now that that's gone, you try little different things, but it's not working, and it didn't work yesterday. The Kansas City Chiefs have a mid offense Mahomes is still great. The offensive line is awful. Travis Kelce is not the old Travis Kelce no more. He's an old Travis Kelce. DeAndre Hopkins is not the old DeAndre Hopkins. He's an old DeAndre Hopkins. He's just past his prime. It's just what it is. So the Kansas City Chiefs have some work to do this offseason. Their defense did play great at times. Their defense did not play great yesterday in the second half. I'll give them the first half now because sometimes they was able to kind of get off the field. But on that first drive of the game where A.J. Brown caught that pass on McDuffie, that wasn't pass interference. That wasn't. I understand, yeah, he had his little hand on the face mask a little bit. That was not pass interference. That was a BS call. But the rest tried to help out the Chiefs out a little bit. And the Eagles said, no. Y'all won't be able to stop us from go get the quarterback. You ain't gonna stop us from that. They be getting pressure from the outside or from the inside. Because thing is, when it comes to pressure, if pressure's coming from the inside, then he actually has to roll to the side. That helps out the edge rushers. Then the edge rushers, if they collapse the pocket on the outside and forces him to step up, and that gives Jordan Davis, that gives Jalen Carter room to go get home. Like I said, they didn't even have to blitz. And that's beautiful as a defense, the fact that you don't have to blitz. And as far as the Eagles offense, they kept converting on third downs. And as far as the Kansas City Chiefs, it's very demoralizing when you constantly try to get them on third down and then try to get off the field, and they couldn't get off the field. This is sad. And honestly, we have to look at things a little bit different. We have to look at Jalen Hurts a lot more different now. Super Bowl MVP. He's outplayed Pat Mahomes now in 2 Super Bowls now, because the first Super Bowl, he outplayed Pat Mahomes, even though Mahomes did have an ankle injury, but he still outplayed him, and Jalen Hurts should have won that game. Then you go to yesterday's game. Jalen Hurts yet again outplayed Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. That's twice now. We can't say that because Josh Allen, he's outplayed Pat Mahomes maybe like once, maybe twice in his life. And then you look at Lamar Jackson. He's never outplayed Pat Mahomes in the playoffs. Never, even though they've only met once. So both of those quarterbacks got some work to do. But it starts with the defense, though. The Eagles, the way they built this team was so perfectly. They was the better football team, and it wasn't even close. Like I said, you look on offense, they got the better weapons. You look at the offensive line, they arguably have the best offensive line in the game of football. You look at the running back, they have, without a doubt, the best running back in the game of football right now. And it's also helped the running back position as far as getting paid for the future, because they try to devalue it. Nah, hell no, you can't devalue it now, because Saquon Barkley has literally ran the Eagles to a Super Bowl in the way that Kansas City Chiefs defense was focused on that running game, trying to stop Saquon Barkley, saying we will not let him win this game, and their offense is going to have to throw. They did that. Jalen Hurts made efficient passes. He made smart passes. He made good decisions. Now, that was a bad decision pick that he threw at that first quarter of the game, but other than that, he played a really good game. He didn't force nothing. He took what the defense gave him, and he played like a Super Bowl MVP quarterback is supposed to play. On the other side of Pat Mahomes, man was running for his life yet again, just like he did in the Super Bowl a couple years ago against Tom Brady. He was running for his life, but you was playing with that same offensive line all year long. So I don't want to give you excuses, but obviously there was guys that couldn't get open, and they couldn't get open because, like I said, everybody was in coverage. The defensive backs were, the certain safeties, the cornerbacks, the linebackers, all of them was back in the coverage, and you only had 4 guys that went to go get the quarterback. Mind you, there's 11 guys on the field now, so you subtract 4 minus 11. That means what? There's 7 guys going to go get the quarterback? Going and drop back in the coverage? Hell yeah, it's going to be hard to be open. So, bottom line is, this was a dominating Super Bowl. This was a great effort by the Eagles. They put BTA on the Chiefs, and the Chiefs have a lot of work to do now. Yeah, you got to the Super Bowl, but at some point, nutrition is going to kick in there, because going to 3 straight Super Bowls can take a lot on the human body. And you can tell the Chiefs, they didn't have the energy like the Eagles did. They couldn't match the Eagles, energy for energy, but the Eagles was ready for it. And this Eagles team is so good, nobody talks about it. This team could literally go back to back. This team could literally, if they don't go back to back, they can go 2 out of 3 years. This team is built for right now and a little bit of future, but specifically right now. With Saquon Barkley in the prime of his career, A.J. Brown in the prime of his career, Devontae Smith in the prime of his career, Jalen Hurts, I don't even know if he is in the prime of his career. Let's just say he is. Then you got this young defense. This team can go multiple Super Bowls. So Jerry Old Ass Jones and my Dallas Cowboys, I need you to wake up and I need you to smell the coffee, because copy what the Eagles did. That's your formula to win. If you're in the AFC, from the Steelers, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Bills, any in the Chargers, any team in that division or in that conference, take notes from what the Eagles did. If you want to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, don't wait at the line of scrimmage. Build you the offensive line. Build you the defensive line. Because that's where the Eagles win the game, man. The line of scrimmage. Because Jalen Hurts, the only way that the Chiefs got pressure on Jalen Hurts was to blitz him. And that's a Steve Spagnuolo special. It's the blitz. He'll blitz you from the inside, he'll blitz you from the outside, he'll blitz you from anywhere. But they really couldn't get home with 4. And then the offensive line took care of business. They stood on business. And then the Eagles defensive line, they stood on business. That's how you build a team. It starts right there. Build the offensive line, build the defensive line up. You gotta protect your quarterback, and you gotta go get the opposing team quarterback. That's how you win Super Bowl. So this was a hell of a game. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad the season is over, because this has been a mentally draining season for me just as a Cowboy fan. Now watching the Eagles win another Super Bowl is depressing, but it's also great at the same time because they stopped the Chiefs 3-peat. So I really do thank y'all for watching this video. If y'all watch all the way through, don't forget to like the video, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let me know what y'all think, man, about this Super Bowl, this season, in the comment section. See y'all in the next video. Y'all be smooth.